The Karams, the Zuris, the Peters are all one family. Well, they're all so. Marie Peters is my husband's grandmother, and she married a Karam. So it was. Oh, do you really? Have you seen it? I love Jimmy, Kristen. Yeah, they're such a good family. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, such a great family. Yeah.
And we please, sir.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, so you, yeah, for a long time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Kristen, and well, what's nice is Gavin's in there great. So like, um, to be able to be home and so he was my buddy all trip, so it worked out great. Yeah. Yeah, we did. I mean, we really did. I have some blisters still. And like I said, I'm just tired. Like, been running a lot. Like the kids had, we're just starting travel sports, and so like this weekend, we're in two separate, towns and running around, and so I get off the bus like immediately. It wasn't bad this weekend. It was only Del Valle. Like it was like a normal, but it was a whole day kind of stuff. One's in lacrosse and one's in baseball, and that was in Pittston. So, but just not to be home, and we had to be there at like 8 a.m. And then I did the President's motorcade the last 2 days, so I'm exhausted. I had to be out pretty early for that today. Not like ridiculously early, but it's a long.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Abington Heights School Board meeting for Wednesday, April 17th. Would everyone please rise and pledge the flag? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar, Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hillebrand, Mrs. Karam,
Here.
yeah. Yes, okay. Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney.
Yes, and
Mr.
I'm here.
We didn't do roll call yet. He asked for agenda.
Yeah, I jumped ahead, so I'm going to ask if maybe we can do a double there,
Okay. Okay,
We're just trying to move along.
sure.
Be very efficient with our votes tonight.
And Mr. Acker, the vote on the
Yeah,
agenda.
Mr.
Okay. So we have
Mrs. Simpson.
7-0
You're
on the
exactly right.
vote and 7 present. How's that?
Very good. Touche. All right. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings of March 20th and April 3rd?
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? We're moving along here tonight. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Henderson.
Here.
No, this is a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
What did you just vote on?
And I'm here.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson.
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney.
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah.
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes,
7-0 and still 7 present.
thank you very much. Okay, are there any board reports at this time? Okay, in that particular case, moving on, I would ask that our student representatives come up. Mr. Lamb, good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you? So for our April academics report, the mock trial team is preparing for nationals, which will be in Wilmington, Delaware on May 3rd through the 4th after winning the state championship this past March. On On behalf of the entire mock trial team, I just wanted to say thank you, especially to the board, for giving us the grant money necessary for us to be able to actually attend the national competition. We're all extremely grateful, and we can't extend enough of our gratitude for you letting us be able to do something like that. Several students competed in the IEEE Engineering Olympics at Wilkes University on April 12th. The group of 8 took first place. James Watt, Eric Orlando, Joey Scandell, Ethan Avery, Cameron Taylor, Declan Walsh, Owen McVetti, and Michael Maldonado. Abington Heights placed in 7 events at the FBLA State Leadership Conference last week. 30 students participated in the conference at Hershey Lodge and the Hotel Hershey on April 8th through the 10th, 2024. Abington Heights members placed in the top 10 in 7 events. Mark Leinert and Colin Price for 2nd place in digital video production. Timothy Phillips coming in 5th place for organizational leadership. Giannis Galanakis in 6th place for healthcare administration. Nor Ruddy in 7th place for impromptu speaking. Sona Hanimali in 7th place for introduction to marketing concepts. Layan Al-Ramadin 7th place for introduction to programming. And Owen McVetti 9th place for business plan. This is the 3rd year in a row that AHHS has placed in the top 2 in digital video production at the SLC. Mr. Dale Keeler and Miss Krista Carey were staff/faculty members of the month. Layla Mikalago was student of the month. These awards are part of our PBIS program and in partnership with Jimmy John's. New curtains were installed in the auditorium and they look great. Please consider coming out to our spring concert series. Choir, April 28th at 3 p.m. Orchestra, May 5th at 3 p.m. And band at May 22nd at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Mr. McVetti, welcome.
All right, so I am doing the April athletics report, and the weather has definitely thrown a wrench in some of our plans, but it hasn't slowed down our school success. Baseball is currently 8-0 overall, ranked 1st in District 2 and the District 4 sub-regional Class 5A standings. This week, we are away versus North Pocono, and Tuesday we are against Panther Valley at the Rail Riders Stadium. And Wednesday, the 24th, we are at Scranton playing them. And in boys lacrosse, they are currently 3rd place in league standings at 6-2 overall. On Monday night, they defeated Holy Redeemer by a score of 19-4. Tonight, the team travels to Lake Lehman for a 5 p.m. game. Thursday, they return home to host Dallas at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday at 10 a.m., they host Nazareth from District 11. Unified Track and Field hosted their first meet today, and it was their senior day. The team honored their 7 seniors prior to the tri-meet versus Carbondale and Mid-Valley. They will have 2 meets remaining on April 23rd at Valley View and May 1st at Carbondale area. Softball is currently 3-2 overall and ranked 1st in the District 2 5A softball rankings. And the team has had a busy week with 4 games. On Monday, the team lost a close battle at Wallenpaupack, but returned home for a 14-2 win over Delaware Valley. Tomorrow, they have a makeup game with West Scranton, and then they travel to North Pocono to play them this Saturday. Our boys volleyball suffered their first league loss against Blue Ridge on Monday. The Lackawanna League play continues Thursday at West Scranton. The boys are currently 4-4 overall and 4-1 in the league. Boys tennis is currently 7-0 and ranked 1st overall in the District 2 Class 3A standings, with a recent 4-1 victory over Scranton Prep. The team is in a prime position to win another Lackawanna League championship with just a few regular season matches remaining. In powerlifting, there are 5 male and 5 female members on the powerlifting team who have qualified for the national championship. They are making their final preparations to compete at the 2024 Powerlifting America's High School Nationals in New Orleans on April 19th through the 21st. With boys and girls varsity track, the girls team is currently 4-0, and with yesterday's 131-9 victory over Scranton Prep, the girls varsity track team has reached an incredible milestone of 100 consecutive dual meet wins. They have been undefeated since 2006. Which, an interesting thing to think about, that is before a lot of the members of the girls' track team was even born. This has been going on for many years, and it's a big success with our program. There was a celebration in the team's honor following their return from Scranton Prep yesterday in the high school gymnasium. The boys got their third win, defeating Scranton Prep 94.5 to 45.5, moving their record to 3-1. Our teams will be competing Friday night at the North Pocono Twilight Invitational. Girls lacrosse is currently 7-1 and ranked second in the conference after winning yesterday at the previously undefeated Wyoming Seminary. Their team will host Wilkes-Barre area this Thursday, the 18th. There is also an athletic climate surveys, an effort to improve the student-athlete experience and be responsive to the needs and requests of our student-athletes, families, and coaches. The athletic department sent climate surveys to both athletes and their parents this previous week. These surveys will remain open throughout Friday, April 19th, and we strongly encourage our athletes and their families to participate. And the 2024-2025 athlete physicals are currently scheduled to take place on Tuesday, June 4th from 5 to 8 p.m. These physicals are sponsored by our partner, the Lehigh Valley Health Network, and are free to any prospective athlete currently enrolled in Abington Heights School District entering grades 7 through 12, and they will take place at the high school nurses suite. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Our next item of business is the superintendent's report. Dr. Schaefer?
All right, thank you very much. I don't have a lot today, and I wanted to piggyback on our student reports today, as they just left, relative to what we're doing with our facility planning. Mr. McVetti, right, just finished, and he talked about an athletic survey, and this is something that I spoke about a couple years back. We have a climate survey, which we're going on our third year, where we survey our parents, our students, and our teachers around some of the same constructs around education, everything from the teaching and learning to our facilities. And it's a great way to capture feedback. In fact, over 7,000 responses and folks have participated in these over the last 3 years. Following that is athletics, because we have so many students and families participating in extracurricular events. And I say participating because our parents are bringing them back and forth, and it's important for us to capture some of that data. We ask about communication, so how might we be able to communicate better? We ask about those different ways in which we communicate, and we'll have some of this data to you a little later, because once we started to get input flooding in. We talk about asking students about the game day experience. We talk about camaraderie and their thoughts about what it's like to be as part of a team. And we also talk about coaching, and we ask these questions of our student athletes as well as our parents. And this is a great way to not only inform some of our decisions about where we go with extracurriculars, but also some of our investments, because we do ask about our facilities, even down to the uniforms. So that way, it isn't anecdotal. You know, I heard from such and such, who heard from such and such, that we need to get some new uniforms, right? We go right back to our student athletes to learn a little bit more about it. So we're really excited about that. And I'm excited about the building projects, which are now kicking off in the design phase. We've met with our architects and our project manager to discuss design at the middle school as well as our elementary schools. We've walked through, so that process is kicking off. We have Labella Engineering that's also working on the wastewater treatment up at the middle school. And again, this may be 2 to 3 years down the road, because we're going to have to work in partnership with the Commonwealth, particularly Department of Human Services and Clark Summit State Hospital. But it's really good for us to get that data now, so that we can start to make some improvements to our sanitary lines. So we are all ready when the new sewage treatment plant is built. We also have been working with Quad 3 Engineering and Deluxe Athletics to look at the new field that will be going in at the high school. We're excited about that and the prospect of that construction kicking off in August. So it's a really busy spring. And I tell you all that because I can't help, but every time I hear our updates from our students, we hear a lot about the academic and athletic successes. And I want to just take this moment to talk again about the deliberations and the decisions, the strategic decisions that the board has made relative to our investments now and into the future. We've invested a lot into academics. And as you can see here, it's not just what kids are learning in third period physics or fourth period architectural engineering or in Comet Connects, right? We're providing our students with opportunities to transfer those skills into different events. So leveraging their reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills to win state championships in mock trial and to move forward into nationals, to participate in unified track and field and transferring all those skills they've learned over time about compassion and empathy and patience and just being a great Comet, right? I want to take the time, and it's not enough time to talk about that because that's really what makes our kids great. Last board meeting, I talked about character skills trumping cognition in research that comes from Adam Grant, and I do believe that. I'm not minimizing cognition at all, but I do believe a great separator is the character skills that our students demonstrate year in and year out. I went to a banquet today for District 2 where it was a lot of Abington Heights and a lot of plaques and a lot of, and I got to thinking about that and all the things that our kids do during the day academically and then get on the field and then go to mock trial or to FBLA or to engineering competitions, or as our last board meeting, you saw some wonderful youngsters here showing their design thinking skills and their engineering skills as they were doing some coding. The boys over here with the Lego bots, or whatever they call them now that I should know but don't know. Ozbots, or
They're just Lego robots.
they're Lego robotics, to the slingshot sort of mechanism that our youngsters were talking about. So all of those things I like to highlight because those are the pieces that we will work on as we develop our facilities. And we've talked about that as we look at our elementary plans and taking a look at our libraries and upgrading them into STEM centers where kids have the opportunity to experiment and transfer those skills. So it's just really important to reiterate our North Star over and over again and why we're making these needed investments. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. That was great. Now is the time of our meeting for public comment. Would anyone like to make a public comment? Is this Ron Cowder, are you sure? Okay, thank you very much. Next item will be the treasurer's report. Mrs. Karam, would you please help us out there?
Gladly. We began the month with a cash balance of $24,312,973.05. We took in $508,902.57 in revenues. Our net disbursements were $5,199,636.66 for a cash balance available of $21,622,238.96.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report and the bills that were sent out to us.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
Mr.
7-0.
Ackert, ask the board approve the personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any, on the motion, any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
7-0.
Mr. Ackert, ask the board consider a motion to approve the April 2024 volunteer list.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
7-0.
Mr. Ackert, ask the board consider a motion to approve the April tuition reimbursement report.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
7-0.
Mr. Ackert, ask the board consider to approve a motion for the professional and support staff listings for the 2024 extended school year program.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
Mr.
7-0.
Ackert, ask the board consider a motion to approve the renewal contract for the Food Services Management Company for the 24-25 fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
7-0.
Mr. Acker, as a reminder on item G, it takes approving 2 readings for policies to be updated. We are not approving all of these policies. What I'm asking is for the board to consider approving the first reading of the policies.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
7-0.
Mr. Ackert, asks that the board consider approving the first reading of policies 800, 830.1, and 808.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdullah?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam?
Yes.
Mr. Acker?
Yes.
7-0.
Next item on the agenda is a listing of uses of the district facilities, item 5. And I would ask, is there any unfinished business? New business? Can I ask for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.